Hey first grade, how are you guys doing today? I hope you're doing great. Today is kind of a special day. Do you know why? If you said because we are going to read the very last chapter of our history book, then you're correct. I can't believe it. It's a pretty big book. So we read the whole thing. We didn't skip anything. Pretty cool, huh? So the last chapter is chapter 42, the end of Rome. You ready? Let's go. This section is called the last Roman emperor. This is a picture of, in pink here, of the Roman Empire when it was at its largest. So what happened to the Roman Empire? As you can see, it was huge. It covered parts of Africa, parts of Asia, and almost all of Europe. Well, what happened to it? The Romans used to rule dozens of other countries. They were the most powerful people in the world. But then the empire was divided and the barbarians came. The Western Roman Empire grew weaker and weaker, and the Eastern Roman Empire refused to help the West out. As a matter of fact, the Eastern Roman Empire wasn't even called Rome anymore. Instead, it became known as the Byzantine Empire. The Western Roman Empire still existed, but barbarians took over most of its land. And although the Western Roman Empire still had an emperor, he didn't live in Rome because Rome had been destroyed. He lived in a small, swampy city, hiding from the barbarians. Remember, we read about that a few chapters ago, how he went and hid in the swampy city. Finally, one of the invaders, named Aristus, decided to drive the Roman emperor out of hiding. He collected an army and marched towards the small swampy city where the emperor lived. When the emperor heard that Aristus and his men were coming, he ran away. By the time Aristus arrived, the emperor was long gone. Aristus decided to make his son emperor. There was only one problem. His son was 6 years old. But that didn't stop Aristus. He ordered all his men to obey the 6-year-old emperor, and he gave his son a new name, Romulus Augustus. He called him Romulus because an old legend said that a man named Romulus was the first king of Rome long, long ago, and he called him Augustus after Caesar Augustus, Rome's most famous emperor. That was a big name for a little boy, and when the people who were left in the Western Roman Empire heard it, they laughed. Romulus Augustus, they said. What a silly name for a child. We won't call him Romulus. We'll call him Momulus. Momulus meant little disgrace. The Romans felt insulted because they were expected to obey the child of a barbarian. But Momulus didn't get to be emperor for long. Another barbarian captured Momulus and his father Aristus. Momulus, now 7 years old, was sent off to live in another city. He was given plenty of money to pay for food and clothes, but he wasn't allowed to rule anymore. His crown and scepter were taken to Constantinople. And that was the end of the Western Roman Empire. It was full of barbarian kings. Each one ruling his own little kingdom. The lands that used to belong to Rome now belong to these new barbarian kings. The new settlers still used the wide, beautiful Roman roads. Rome's huge buildings still stood, although many were beginning to crumble away. Many people still spoke Latin, the language of the Romans, and the barbarians had begun to learn Roman ways and Roman customs. But the Roman Empire itself was gone forever. Over in the Eastern Roman Empire, now called the Byzantine Empire, people mourned. Rome had been a great and beautiful city, but now it was in ruins. As long as an emperor still ruled, there was hope that Rome might be great again. But now the last Roman emperor, a little boy just your age, had lost his throne. Rome would never again rule the world. Okay, here we go. This is a very last section of our book, The Gifts of Rome. The Roman emperor is gone. The ancient city of Rome was destroyed. The Roman emperor has disappeared. But the Romans gave us words and inventions that we use every single day. You're using one of them right now. Or at least I am. I'm looking at it. How many books do you have in your house? How often do you use a book? Probably every day, I bet. The Romans were the first people to use books with pages. They figured out how to sew pages together along one side so that you can turn the pages and read both the front and back of each one. Before the Romans, people used scrolls. Scrolls were long pieces of paper or animal skin that you had to unroll to read and roll back up whenever you were finished. Can you imagine reading a scroll in bed or in the car? Every time you read a book, you're using a Roman invention. The words you're reading came from the Romans too. We use the Roman alphabet to write our words. Whenever you sing the alphabet song or write a word, you are using the letters from the Romans. Do you know the 12 months of the year? Most of those months have Roman names. January is named after the Roman god Janus. March is named after Mars, the god of war. June is named after Juno, the most important Roman goddess. July and August are both named after Roman heroes. July is named after Julius Caesar, the famous Roman general, and August is named after Augustus, Rome's first emperor. Do you like to go swimming in the summer? If so, thank the Romans. The Romans built big bathhouses or like big bathtubs, big enough for 20 or 30 people to wash in at once. These bathtubs were the first swimming pools. If you look at a U.S. penny, you'll see that it has the picture of a head on it. The portrait is of Abraham Lincoln, one of the United States' greatest presidents. The Romans began the custom of putting the heads of great leaders on coins. They put pictures of their emperors on their coins. Today, we put pictures of our leaders on coins. We copied what the Romans did. Now look at a dime. On one side of the dime, you can see some tiny words, E pluribus unum. They're kind of right there in the middle of the branches and the torch. You see them? They're real small. E pluribus unum. Those words are in Latin, the language that the ancient Romans spoke. They mean out of many, one. This means that America has many different states in it, but all of the states are united together into one country. The Romans gave us these words to write on our coins. We live on the Earth, but there are 7 other planets in our solar system: Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. All of our planets have Roman names. They are named after Roman gods and goddesses. Now remember, kiddos, we've talked about Roman gods and goddesses before, and I just want to remind you that those gods are not our God. They're not the one true God that we worship. These gods and goddesses that I'm about to talk about, these are gods that the Romans made up to help explain how the world worked. So they're gods from their imagination. So Jupiter was the king of the gods. He was a big, important god to the Romans, and Jupiter is a very big planet. Mars is named after the god of war. Mercury is named after the messenger of the gods, and Venus is named after the goddess of love and beauty. Saturn is Jupiter's father. Neptune is a god of the sea, and Uranus the god of the sky. So all these planets were named after different Roman gods and goddesses. Finally, even our words come from Rome. The English language borrowed many, many words from Latin, the language of the Romans. Can you figure out what English words come from these Latin words? I bet you can. Frigidarium. The frigidarium was a room where Roman bathers jumped into very cold water. What word sounds like frigidarium and keeps things cold? A refrigerator. That's right. Very good. So the Latin word frigidarium, that's where we get the name refrigerator. A Roman child lived in a familia with his mother, father, sisters, and brothers. What do you think is a familia? If you said family, you're correct. Very good. The Latin word for book was liber. What word sounds like liber and is a place where books are kept? A library. That's right. Very good. In Latin, a ship is a novice. Do you know what word comes from novice? It means many ships that sail together. That's right, it's navy. All right, here's another one. Have you ever written P.S. at the end of a letter? If so, you've used Latin words. P.S. stands for the Latin words post scriptum, or after the writing. A P.S. goes after the main writing of the letter. Here's another one. In Rome, a florist was a beautiful plant that smelled good. Can you think of a beautiful plant that smells good and sounds like Floris? That's right. Our word flower comes from the Latin word floris. Even though the ancient Roman Empire is gone, we use the words, inventions, and ideas of the Romans all the time. So, in a way, Rome will never completely disappear. The gifts that the Romans gave to us are still with us today. And that's the end, you guys. Give yourself a round of applause. You've finished the Story of the World book. Very good, you guys. I'm so proud of you. All right, I want to end with a Bible verse. This Bible verse is from 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 11, and it says, "Therefore, encourage one another and build each other up, just as in fact you are doing." So I just wanted to remind you that the Bible says we need to encourage one another. Encourage your mom, encourage your dad, encourage your brother, encourage your sister, encourage your friends and your classmates, even your teachers, to just look on the bright side and be thankful for all that we do have, even though we can't leave our homes. At least we're safe and we get to spend time with our family, and we have our health. So we need to encourage one another to think about all the things we are thankful for and build each other up, just as in fact I know you guys are doing, because you're awesome. Okay, so that is the end of our history lesson today. I will see you guys on Thursday for History Day. It's going to be a fun day, and I've already gotten some pictures from some of you in your costumes, and I can't wait for everyone to see them. So it'll be fun on Thursday, and I'll see you then. Have a great day. Bye.